Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we will be setting up March in my bullet journal. We will also be adding a spread in the end to tie into April as we are planning a baptism for my daughter. I decided to go with another easier theme this month as it's mostly what I have time with at the moment. I do, however, really like this color combination and ended up loving how this theme turned out. It's sort of a wheatgrass, pampas grass or cattail looking theme with some added leaves for some contrast. I start by drawing in big oval shapes for the grass and then add on a few stems with leaves into different light muted shades of green. After that, I start adding some details by using two darker shades of green to add some depth to the bottom halves of the leaves. I also go in with a darker shade of beige to the grass to add some lines and details to indicate that they are a bit fuzzy. I'm finishing up with a white gel pen to add additional details to both the grass and the leaves, just for some more dimension. I think this is the theme that can be done in many different color variations depending on your taste and what season we're in. I can imagine this being done with some warm orange or brown tones or even pink tones instead of the green for a September theme, for example. On the left-hand page, I add a box for a little quote and decided to go back to add a similar box on the title page as I really liked how that looked. I use a brown sticky note for the title, and for some texture I decide to crumple the paper. First tearing off the sticky part for it to be a bit easier to crumple, and after that I tear the rest of the sides off and get a shape that I want before I glue it to the page. I move back to the left-hand page again and add the quote, "She will fill your lives with sunshine and your hearts with love," in reference to the fact that my daughter is growing up more and more by each day. After that, I move to my weekly spreads. Just like February, I use a Dutch door system for each week. I will be starting my spread with Monday, March 2nd, and ending it on the first shared week between March and April, which gives me 5 weeks this month. I add some decorations to the side of the weeklies in the same manner as the title page. I try to use different combinations with the green colors for some variety and draw in the weeks in a similar manner to the boxes on the title page to make it more cohesive. I write the title on a brown post-it note again. However, I decided to tear it out before I crumple it, which honestly made it more difficult. So I recommend to crumple it before you tear it into the shape that you want. I then continue with the weeks on the middle of the Dutch doors and decide to also add some decorations in the middle of that spread in the crease of the journal. On the last of the weekly spreads, I add in the notes section for me to use if I want to jot something down during the month. The next spread is a movement and meal planning spread. In the end, in February, I never ended up using the movement spread a lot because it ended up being quite a hectic month for different reasons. I decided to keep it in the same way during March anyway, to give it a second chance. I add in a tracker for walks and a tracker for mobility exercises, and then also a space to note down my favorite mobility videos of the month. I then move on to the meal plan. I guess it's actually more of a menu page for the month. March begins on the 10th week of the year and ends on the 14th week, so I added spaces for those weeks for us to plan meals. Lastly, I added a page for planning my daughter's baptism. As you probably noticed, most, if not all, of my bullet journal so far has been in English. I preferred to set up my journal in English, but decided to do this spread in my native language, which is Swedish. I also wanted this spread to transition into what I plan for April spread to be. For my daughter's baptism, we decided the theme to be daisies and yellow. So I opted for some daisies onto the spread for some decorations. I also added the same type of leaves in the same style as I have on the previous spreads to also make it more cohesive. I added spaces to write in the date and time, as well as theme and are decided on godparents. I then added some space to note down what psalms and music or poems we want to use during the sermon, as well as a guest list and a planned list for refreshments that we will have after the sermon. In the end, I also added a border to the spread and opted for a kind of lime green color because I felt like it would work well with the light yellows and light pinks. But in hindsight, I should probably have gone for one of the colors that I've already used on the spread instead, because it ended up feeling a bit too cluttered and the green didn't fit super well. But it is what it is. Those are all of the spreads that I will be using this month. I hope you find this inspirational or useful. If you do, please feel free to give me a like and a follow, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!